Welcome, parents. Welcome, families. We're just making sure everything works here on our audio end, and we just tested it, so it seems like it's all going well. The purpose of this opportunity to talk with all of you is one, so that you get to meet all of us. First, I'm going to drop my mask down so you can recognize my face. I know you can see my bald head, but I'm Mr. Murray, principal of Chardon High School. To my right here is Doug Hyam, assistant principal. He goes from M through Z. And to my left is Mr. Bandera. He is the A through L principals. You might have watched us in one of our videos that we shared with you last week in our family reference guide. There's been a lot of communications being sent out, communications that have come from the district, and then communications that have been specific to the high school. In particular, I shared out a student reference guide, return to school talking points to students today. And as I'm finding out that some of those links were taking you to a blue model, and I'm not sure why, but we'll have that corrected here this afternoon. The purpose of today's conversation is kind of to talk a little bit about ourselves and then to talk about school. This is my 8th year as a principal of Chardon Schools, going in my 5th year as the principal. We've gone through a lot, and we have a lot of people that we are certainly grateful for, all of our staff that are currently working right now to prepare for Monday, in particular our teachers who are doing that, but all of our custodians, all of our maintenance staff, food service workers, our secretaries have been working nonstop to make all of this happen. We're appreciative of all of them. There's so many people to thank, but those directly we want to thank today. I want to thank these guys here who have spent most of the summer working with me to make this plan happen come Monday. Monday is our first day of school. And if you will look inside, if you go inside of this YouTube, if you do type anything in the say something area, we certainly will be able to see it and be able to respond to your question. We want to be, in particular, talking directly to our students, to our parents, specifically about this document that went out today, along with the family reference guide. We are certainly looking forward to seeing everyone next week. Just like the adults that are here asking a lot of questions, we know that you have also a lot of questions, and you have a lot of feelings, you have concerns, and you have some excitement to get back into a normal routine. We first want to say how much we deeply miss our students. We miss our seeing, and it might be different seeing their smiling faces, but as my parents always told me, that you can see everyone's emotion in their eyes. And so we look forward to seeing all those eyes. Students wearing masks like so as they enter our building throughout the entire day. These are some of the things that we're going to talk about today. So the first thing inside of this document that we were going to discuss is obviously you were able to see this live chat that we have with you. We have been working with our tech department to get Chromebooks for all of our new students to the district. They are available, and we had about half of our students enter the building today. The building's still open, so you can still come up to the high school and meet Erin Kohler, Mrs. Erin Kohler. She is across from the cafeteria, known as the lady in the window, and she will certainly be able to distribute your Chromebook for Monday, whether you are in a blue model, 100% online, or the in-person, or an experience of the hybrid. Also inside of this document that we will refer to, you have information if you need to have your Chromebook repaired. Over the summer, something might have occurred, and we have IT that is able to repair those, and there's a system that we follow here that you're able to contact that person, which starting on Monday is going to be right outside of this room. We are in the media center right now. We're in room 1. Right outside of the windows is where you'd go to see Mrs. Adair, who would then take in the information about your Chromebook, contact IT, and I hope that we have some loaners prior to it being repaired. Before we begin, I'm going to take a breath and include Mr. Bandera to have any comments and Mr. Hyam before we talk about the return to school talking points.
Welcome back, students. I know I said it last week in our video, but I'm very excited to see everyone. It's been a long time since we've seen everyone. It's been 5, almost 6 months since we've seen everyone, and we're looking forward to that. It's been great to have 3 days with our teachers this week. They're excited to have you back in the building or online. I know a lot of you are joining us online this year. They're excited for those things. They've been learning a lot, and we're looking forward to our new school year. There's a little bit of stress and anxiety on everyone as we enter the building, and I want to say we've done a lot to prepare for that. And there's unanswered questions still, and we'll try to answer those as we begin the week here. We're lucky enough to start next week in our orange model with our limited groups, and hopefully we'll be able to work on any of the kinks of the schedule and get started great the following week with everyone in the building. Mr. Hyde?
I'm excited to be back. Welcome back. Monday will be here before you know it. The one thing I've said before is our building may look different. Some of the things we do procedurally, coming and going in our building might be slightly different. But the one thing that hasn't changed is the 3 of us up front and the wonderful staff that we have here at Chardon High School that is here for one purpose, and that's to help you be the best you can be. So make sure you seek us out. We want to see you. We want to speak with you, catch up with you. So please don't be a stranger. We're here to help you. And if you have any questions or concerns, we're always checking our email. So don't be afraid to shoot us an email.
While they were both talking, I just asked Kelly Mish, our Director of Communications, if she could send this link directly to you so that you can see exactly what we're talking about. So it was not like we were talking about it for the first time. As we get back to school, and we'll get into the specific schedule here in the conversation later on in this today. It's important that this weekend you start establishing your regular school routines. You haven't been in school since March, and during that time you've probably created some habits towards staying up later, being with your family a little bit later at night. It's important to be mindful of your hydration, your nutrition, and your rest. Getting in those sleep routines and habits this weekend, and I know it's my last weekend, but getting into those routines and then starting the week in the 50% model will help you as long as you establish it for next week also. Going to bed on time, getting up on time, and starting that so that you can get into the routines. The one thing that is really important is that, when you enter the school building, there's multiple ways to entering the school building. Whether it is, and we ask you to certainly watch that video that we have. Here's my 2 sons that I call them. Whether you're a car rider and you come up through the front of the building, the entire area from the flagpole to the sidewalk is a drop-off point. We know that a lot of families like to wait till they get to the front door, but the entire sidewalk, which is about 100 feet, you can drop everyone off so that we can have kind of a seamless traffic flow for car riders. Our student drivers go into the student lot, and our bus riders go behind in the bus depot, and they drop off at various points. Those are important things, kind of like with the how do I get to school. The thing that is also just as important is refresh Infinite Campus. There has been, as of even today, 38 major changes to the master schedule. Think about this. We should be ninjas at building a master schedule now. We're so used to doing it in the regular setting, but then we created a hybrid setting, and then we created, I don't even have a third hand, the blue model, and they have to spin like gears. They all have to work together so that at any moment, if anything is in a different mode, that they all still work. So it was an enormous equation. It's still being analyzed so that we can balance classes the best we can, so we can minimize the numbers in a room at a given point, because we have the regulations from the commissioner, the health commissioner, the regulations that are coming from executive orders, and then we have the recommendations from our Board of Education. There are so many layers that we're trying to do. Check your Infinite Campus. Oftentimes, this is what happens. The student sees that schedule the first time, takes a screenshot, they make it their background of their phone, and they're going to walk in a room the first day and sit, and the teacher's going to say, and what's your name? I'm so-and-so. And they will say, "Oh, I'm sorry, you're not in my class," and then there's frantic. And it's not to worry about that. We are going to be there. Guidance is going to be there to assist you on those days to get you acclimated. We love bringing people in for tours, and this year we've been unable to do so, not because we didn't want to. Our district, with all that was going on, it was a district decision to choose to create virtual opportunities to see the building. I know you want to see your classes. You want to walk your hall. The first week of school being an orange 50% model will provide you that opportunity. Other things, student schedules. As we talked about your student schedules, they've been constantly changing. I need you to be for a moment to think about your schedule from last spring. Last spring, when everything happened, you might have had still a book. You might have had something that belonged to Chardon from English, math, science, social studies, a book that you're like, what do I do with this? I know there were drop-off points you had throughout the earlier days of May into June, but you're like, I still have this. No worries. You can bring them into school the first day. We have bins outside of our trophy cases. You can drop them off, and we will have our custodial team sanitize them, quarantine them before we distribute them later on throughout the first quarter. I'm going to pause. Do you want to talk about any of those student agreement forms and kind of follow through, and we can keep on moving through this today?
Sure. So students, a couple different things for agreement forms, and we have a couple different options for students to go through. First off, our students are all required to fill out our student agreement form, which will be shared with you and already is shared with you on this link here. This goes into place for our Chromebooks, just kind of agreeing that you're going to use it appropriately for school purposes, that you've received our student handbook, GANS contracts, and you become familiarize yourself with the student handbook. The student handbook is an important tool. It contains a lot of important information for you. It contains all of our school guidelines, our school rules, our different policies. If you have a question, most likely it's answered in that handbook. We spend a lot of time on it each summer. So please make sure you take a look at that handbook, make sure you understand it, and then also you can use it to write down assignments in your daily classes. Great way to use one of those tools to help you remember what's due each day and how you're keeping track of long-term assignments. So please make sure you take the time to fill out that student agreement form. In there, I think it also indicates for student cell phone number.
Yes.
Is that still correct? So student cell phone number is very important to us. We found out last spring. There are times that we may need to get a hold of a student for different reasons. And we like to contact parents, but we also, at high school, we like to contact our students as well. There may be times where we need to send things to you. So please fill out that form, give us the most accurate cell phone number if you have one, so we can update that information for our records as well. Mr. Hart?
So talk a little bit about entering the building. We still have the three main entrance points where our student drivers come in, our drop-off students, and our bus. That hasn't changed from the past. Well, what has changed is you need to wear your mask. So when you're coming towards our building, entering our building, you must have your mask on, and it must cover your face. You cannot have it down like this or different hanging on the side. We need it covering our mask. I know that something we're going to get used to, and I'm sure you're getting used to it as you proceed through your day. There is a nice video there that kind of walks you through some of the processes there with Mr. Bandera and myself that Mr. Murray narrated for us. I think you'll truly enjoy it if you have not seen that video. There will be, as you walk through the different entrance points, students' temperatures will be screened. It is something that will be taking place as students enter into the building. A little bit new. Sorry, go ahead, Mr. Bandera.
On that temperature thing for a minute, it's important to know that just because a temperature scanner goes off does not mean that a student is sick or a student is going to be sent home immediately. We've been talking about this a lot this week. Our temperature scanners are one measure to tell if someone maybe not feeling well, but they can be set off for a lot of different reasons. So if you hear one of those beeps go off, it doesn't mean that someone's sick. Oh, I have to be away from Mr. Murray. He's sick. No, it's just an indicator that something went off. Maybe it's warm outside. Maybe Mr. Murray's carrying a cup of coffee.
That's happened.
Maybe something's going on differently that set off that sensor. So please, if you hear that beeping, please don't freak out about it. Please don't be scared of it. It just means that something set off that sensor, and we have to do a little more looking into that.
So with one of that, once we proceed into the building, a slight change is we will not be being housed in the cafeteria this school year. The cafeteria will still be open to get your breakfast and different things like that, but we will be housing in the gymnasium in the stands. However, what we do recommend is that students arrive closer to 7:10, is if they can arrive close to 7:10, they will be going directly to their classroom that they have for first period or second period. Those are on non-late days. So we want to make sure you check your schedule mostly on our every day but Wednesday for that. It is important, as you guys are, I'm sure, already doing, toppers, to be sanitizing when and where you're deemed appropriate and possible throughout the day. And nothing beats using soap, the traditional soap and water, and washing your hands. So that's extremely important. On late start dates, students will utilize the gymnasium as a place for overflow area and appropriate zones where we can have some mass breaks and different things like that. But like anything, so proper social distancing is required and something we will be expecting. You will see in the video, if you do take some time and look at that, how Mr. Bandera and I walk through the halls. I will say Mr. Bandera was much better than I was, staying to the right of the hall. I tended to walk wherever I wanted. That is a problem, quite honestly. I need to get my act together and get to the right side of the wall and provide social distancing. One of the things you also will notice is that our lockers are not going to be usable this year. Quite honestly, many of our students never used them in the first place. They always carry their belongings with them, but our lockers are going to be locked. However, if there is a situation where there is a need for a locker, Mr. Bandera and I are always welcome to have conversation with you about your potential needs for a locker, and we can discuss that. The athletic locker rooms are going to be available to keep your personal equipment secured during the day. Nothing can stay overnight, so there'll be a process of being able to drop it off in the morning, and you only will be able to pick that up at the conclusion of the day. So you cannot get it at various parts of the day. It'll be open at the beginning. It'll be opened at the end of the day for students to get their necessary items for the different extracurricular activities that they participate in. So there are some specifics with the locker rooms, and we'll make sure the athletic teams and other extracurricular groups have that information. School bathrooms are open in each hallway. Once again, try to be mindful of social distancing. If you've been in our restrooms, you know that they're spacious and glorious. Not really, but let's try our best, provide social distancing, and utilize those restrooms. And most importantly, wash our hands when we leave.
All right, so as Mr. Heim said, that you're going to be wearing your mask as you enter the building. That doesn't mean that you take it off once you get in the building. You'll wear it to each of your classrooms. When you go into the classroom, each classroom, including this one here against the wall, has sanitized dispensers. Not only that, you certainly have the right to bring your own. And a lot of Bath and Body Works has those little lanyards that have sanitizers. You can have your own sanitizer. Keeping your hands clean. These are things that your parents have taught you since you were a child. To wash your hands. Constantly wash your hands, whether you are before you eat, after you use the bathroom. Now, in the classroom, some rooms may have the opportunity for you to, in science rooms, so literally use soap and water, which is the best way to sanitize your hands. When you enter a classroom, it's going to look different. There's going to be certain setup in pods where our commissioner has approved certain layouts where you will be beyond arm's length from the people around you and have a desk shield in front of you. Your teacher will have assigned seats for you. Each teacher might be a little bit different in that, where they might do it alphabetically at first, or some might say choose a seat because that's going to be yours, but there's going to be assigned seats. You're asked to stay behind your desk shield. And as a matter of fact, I don't know if we have any in here.
Let me get one for us.
All right, we're going to get a desk shield just so you can see what they look like, because every room, it's going to be affixed that way. In this current boardroom that we're in, we don't have any of them set up. so that, because we want to be clean in this, but we want to show you kind of what they do look like. They are about 22 inches tall, and they have side wings to them. They look like a very oversized dinner menu. And as you can see, it's right in front of Mr. Bandera right now. And then there's one in front of me. What we're trying to note here is the camera angle is a little bit down, but it does cover your entire area. That's going to be exactly on a desk. You need to keep and wear your masks while you're behind this. There will be opportunities set forth for you to have a mask break. But in a sense of, for this presentation here, these are a part of that desk. You know, we went across the district and discussed this at length about these large desk shields, but at the high school, they are going to stay in the classroom. They're going to stay in the classroom, and let me tell you why. Let me explain this to you. Many parents will say, wait, I thought we were going to carry these around. But when you look at our high school and our movement that we have in our high school, you're going to be in 7 rooms. In those rooms, you're going to go from class to class, walking the hallway with them, and then you could potentially take them with you to the bathroom, then the cafeteria. They might be on the floor. They might go on the bus. They might be on the seat. They might be on the floor. They might be thrown in a car. But we only have enough for each student. So if one student did not bring it home, and that, let's just say 5% of the student population doesn't bring it. How many approximately are we looking at?
50 every morning.
Every morning. So we will have 50 emails from staff members. So-and-so doesn't have a desk shield. And then parents trying to bring desk shields, and we don't have visitors allowed for various things. Certainly we would accept such things. But instead of that, we want to keep these safe and for a longer period of time. Every classroom has a bucket of wipes, and they are available for students and staff to be able to sanitize that station whenever they go into a classroom. You also have spray bottles and wipes available, but it's in the best interest of all that those remain in the classroom. Since, again, he just said we don't have lockers. And so kids are gonna be carrying their bags socially distant as best they can in the hallways in a 100% model or 50% model. And then going into a classroom and knowing that I don't have to carry another thing, specifically like this, and knowing that I have the right to be able to sanitize it, should give both the student and the parent the understanding that there is still that sanitization that will take place. Throughout the course of the day, leading into the evening, the custodians will be sanitizing all hard surfaces. But we will be asking to help out that process that students in 7th period, they take a wipe that down for them and put it on the desk so that the custodians would be able to expedite in a fast manner, cleaning the room, sanitizing the desks, and as necessary, being able to use the Clorox 360 machine. The last thing I want to say is while you're in the classroom, students have the ability to use a digital hall pass. We had this in place for almost 2 years through the practice of Lean Six Sigma. Our students came up with a digital hall pass system where students can use their phone, go to a QR code, or use their Chromebook and say that they're going to go to the restroom or go wherever they may be. They carry their student IDs. That every student is very important that you have your student IDs. One, you're like, oh my gosh, where are they? We printed more. Why? Because they connect to your lunch accounts now. And so they have real importance to carry them around. But your student ID is kind of your pass. We know that you have signed out. We have a sheet that we're able to track where kids go. And then when you get back in the classroom, you scan back in and it says that you return to the classroom. Mr. Bandera, will you talk about the cafeteria?
Sure. So our cafeteria is usually pretty full, pretty large. We've done our best to separate students in the cafeteria. We have our long tables, which usually see about 12 students. We've reduced those to 6 students. On each seat in our cafeteria, every other seat has a green sticker on it. We're asking our students to sit at the green sticker. And we're going to have those established seats to help provide that social distancing. Obviously, in the cafeteria, you're not going to be wearing a face mask when you're eating, so that is an appropriate time for you to drop the face mask and enjoy your lunch or beverage, anything you're eating at that time. So use that space in the cafeteria. Our round tables, we're fitting 4 students at them. Tables have been spaced a little differently this year too to provide extra distance between them. And then we have a little bit of overflow seating as well. Our overflow seating will fall into our auxiliary gym, and we've cleaned that up and put some nice tables in there as well to help provide that extra distancing when we do get to our full yellow model of school. For the lines, for this year, the lines in the cafeteria are going to look a little differently. We're going to have 2 lines set up, kind of one line that branches into 2. The usual line where it has our salad bar is going to be closed, but there's still going to be some of those nutritious options like the salad. They're just going to be through our hot food line. So please follow the directional markers that we'll have laid out when you come into the cafeteria. Follow those. And then we're asking, as always, in the cafeteria, please try to avoid standing. Once you find your seat, try to remain in your seat. Try to use that time to maybe use the restroom so you don't have to interrupt your classes. Stay in the cafeteria. Make sure you're using the digital hall pass system when you do have to leave the cafeteria. Eventually, we're going to get into a seating chart in the cafeteria. We're not telling you where to sit, but we're going to have a seating chart that just helps us record where you're sitting. And we'll have that probably coming out the second week of school.
Keep in mind, we did not put any of these provisions in to try to take away your social time or the time to just kind of decompress. These are just standards that we needed to put in, guidelines we needed to put in place to provide a safe environment for all students and staff. That's why we're putting these guidelines in place, is to provide the safest possible place for your sons and daughters and the staff that work in this building. A couple of things that haven't changed, and that's open campus. Open campus is still something that we have as an opportunity for students here at Chardon High School. Key thing is students must enter using the front doors. It's essential that we use one common area for open campus to enter the building. Temperature screening will take place in that area. We'll have the Checkmate Plus set up outside the office area to follow that process like we have in the past. The one thing that we are asking, just because our foyer right there is on the small side, is to try to time coming back into the building to less than 5 minutes if you can, 5 to 7 minutes, so that we can get through that process, but also don't have too many students in that area, because as Mr. Bandera and Mr. Murray have stated, we're trying to provide a social distancing practice policy within the building, and it would be awesome if you can help us with that. And once again, whenever you're coming in or out of the building, sanitizing your hands the best you can and as often as you can will help us all.
So last week, I often get made fun of for my communication because it's quite extensive, but I have also been receiving compliments for condensing it to the point. Family Reference Guide is your guide. That was shared with all parents last week and will continue to be updated when I put things in or we put things in to help you. When you go inside of that, you will see more details that will go into greater length, some of the questions that you may have. I want to talk about a couple things, specifically about next week. So on student schedules, for students that are in the building, you are been marked as an A or a B, okay? That is done by households. And so with the next week's reacclimation to school, the schedule is as follows. We have what we call, based on our school colors, a white, black, and red day. Our red and black days are the block days. So we are going to begin the week with block days. We are going to begin the week with a 1, 3, 5, 7 black day for students in group A. So the first day of school for A students who have 1, 3, 5, or 7 is on Monday. B students, 1, 3, 5, 7A, you don't have anything to do. You haven't met your teachers yet. We've asked teachers to send a communication out, Infinite Campus Messenger. Many of them are doing it because I'm getting the kickback emails that kind of welcomes the students for the school year. It also includes potentially some resources that the teacher uses. That will be very beneficial for the students who are in a blue model. The blue model students, you are going to, if you're 100% blue, check your email. You are following our bell schedule of the 1357 because your teachers are going to have live sessions with you to meet you and to acclimate you to the coursework. The difference between A and B and the blue model is this. On Monday, A students are in the building, B are at home, blue, you are going to class. On Tuesday, B 1357 are in the building, A are at home, and the blue models are getting acclimated with their classes because they might have another live session, potentially, depending on the teacher and how they set up the lesson. Each class is a little bit different. Inside of the blue model expectations for class, we go into greater detail about what is the difference between synchronous, live, and asynchronous, recorded, or other activities to extend on learning opportunities for you in those classes. But next week is kind of, it is different. We are running the 50% model. We're using the orange schedule. So click on the link of the bell schedules, look at those times so that you, for a blue model student, know when your classes are aligned. Why is it that way? Well, with all the teachers that we have teachers that are not fully online teachers. They're teaching kids in person. So it has to be scheduled in their schedule. And that is the time that they can teach that class live. So we've balanced, like I said, the in-class, the hybrid, and the blue to all speak together. For those students that are hybrid, you might have first period in the building. You might have second period online, and that is in a red day. But on the black day, let's say you have 1, 3, 5, and 7. You have 1 in class. You might have 3 online. You might have 5 in class, 7 in class. It might be different for every person. Now, on a block day, that makes sense. You have time to leave the building to get to your class. But when we start to go 100%, this is going to be a challenge for many of you. We've talked with our teachers. Our teachers are well aware that there's going to be that hiccup of kids in between. If you are one of those students that just, want to get out of the building, teachers are going to have to adjust to when you get in, to log in, to be able to get all that material synchronously or asynchronously. But also we have tables in the library media center, round tables, where if you needed to work there and be able to distance yourself from other, you can, and we will be able to check you in. So again, Monday, Tuesday, A day, B day, okay? And then on Wednesday, we have B day students coming in. You're like, wait, they were just in. That's because the district-wide, we have to think K to 12, and we have to make sure that we are lined up district-wide of what every student is based on the household. We don't have class on Friday. That class just got moved over to Wednesday. So B students come in for their classes of if they're running a freshman mentoring program, if they're signed up for a topper time, and or if they have the circuit of success, that happens in the morning. Then you go through periods 2, 4, and 6. Look at the schedule, because Wednesday and Thursday are a little bit later starts. In a typical schedule, we have late start Wednesdays, late start on our red day. This is a welcome back to school week. So we had to be very creative with our schedule for each of the days. So on Thursday, the A students come back in, B students are at home. And likewise, the blue model kids, you would now have 2 experiences in your red day, whether they're live or asynchronous, as they say. We're asking our blue model students to please click on the link for expectation for classes. There is an expectation that you do report to those live sessions. Let's just keep this in mind, whether we're doing in class, hybrid, or blue. This is school. This is not the spring. The spring was called emergency remote learning. We were all figuring it out in one weekend to play school for the rest of the year online. This is how you are being delivered school. Attendance matters. Your effort inside of the classroom matters, because the grading scale did not change. It is what it was board approved to be. So doing your work and doing it to the best of your ability and asking questions, if you don't understand things, to those teachers are going to be your greatest success. Collectively here, we have over 50 years of school experience.
It's older than me.
It is older than you. But I'm entering my 21st year,
26.
26th year,
12?
12th year.
Sounds right.
With that in mind, we were talking about the years of experience. I'm kind of losing my train of thought. I did. But with all those years of experience, we have seen so many different changes in every single year, no more than just the last several months.
Mhm.
The last several months, as we have described, has been, as I like to talk about, being at the ocean
Mhm.
and building a sandcastle, and the tide comes in and washes away, and no one told you about the tide coming. And then you build it further away, and then the tide comes even further, and then you're building it over here, and the same thing. You build something, and then it washes away. You know, it's like doing the same thing over and over. We have been working hard to make this right. And, you know, you might say you're doing a great job, and you might say you could have done more. And you know what? We're doing everything we can under the circumstances that we were given. And we truly believe that what we're doing is good for kids. It's going to be a good experience for our students. But getting back to the point that this is how we are commencing school. And you know what? Things are going to change. We know that. Just because we say that this is going to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then the next week we're going to go yellow 100%, we can't predict the future. Something could occur where our schedule changes. And it might be over a duration of time, or it might be overnight, depending on what's happening in our county, what's happening in our state, what's happening truly anywhere. So being flexible is something that we had to learn more so this summer, but we have to be very, very flexible. On September 8th, it is the expectation that the district is going to be going to a 100% model. The 100% model would include our students reporting to school on what we call our white days. White day are Monday and Tuesday, where they have all their classes for 47 minutes. And then on Wednesday, they have their red day schedule of 2, 4, and 6. And then on Thursday, periods 1 through 5 and 7. And then on Friday is a white day with all of your classes. It is a really strong schedule. In the COVID time, we have to be very mindful of space. And so we have done as much as we possibly can and continue to refine the system so that we can live in that. Because Dr. Hanlon and the Return to School Task Force has said, you know, our county is in good shape. If the time isn't now, then when is the time going to be for us to return to school? I know that there's a lot of opinions toward that, but the reality is with the task that we were given, we're doing everything we can to make things as safe as they possibly can.
Students, I just want to encourage you, do your part. I know it's been said for athletics, it's been said for other things. Do your part so we could stay in school. Maintain that distancing, wash your hands, try to avoid large group gatherings, wear these masks. They're not the most comfortable things. We understand that, but wear those masks. Do your part so we can remain in school. That's our goal. We want to try and make it through this whole school year without having to go to that remote learning. So please try to do your part to help us remain in school. Take those safety precautions. Think of others. Our first core value is community. Think of your community as a greater whole. We want to make sure you're thinking of that as we address this new normal time of us going back to school.
Early on in the school year, we are on September 8th and 9th are going to do all school pictures. Pastors will be in. Usually we do it on one day, and we use the media center, but now it's going to be over 2 days, over a longer period of time inside of the gym. We totally understand it's the first day of school of 100%, but we also have to be mindful of we don't know what could occur in the weeks to come, and we want to make sure we preserve that important value of taking school pictures and having that for you. And also, a lot of people, that's generally when we do it every single year, and we wanted to create some of that normalcy the best that we can. Mr. Heim, could you talk about parking passes?
Yeah, so the parking passes are a little different this year, same price. However, we are using hometown ticketing. It's an online piece to be able to pay. We've had a great turnout. Most of our students have taken care of this. Most of our students have come in and picked up their parking pass for their cars. If you have not done so, please do so on Monday. Get that taken care of because we will have our parking attendant out there checking parking and different things like that. And we want to make sure that our student parking process goes as smooth as it did last year. Remember, our student mentors are up in the red pole area, and then our seniors and juniors to follow. Our sophomores in the lower lot are down by our softball field and tennis courts. It is essential that if you are looking for open campus or late arrival, early dismissal, that you see Mr. Bandera first thing, that you're able to take some time and see us. It is imperative that you get that taken care of with us. It helps with our numbers in study halls and different things. It allows you to get out of the building so you can do the things you want to do. Sooner you see us, the sooner you have all the paperwork taken care of, the quicker we can get you on your way and enjoy the things you want to do. Mr. Bandera?
Yeah, just like Mr. Heim said, we encourage you to take advantage of that open campus opportunity. Biggest thing we need from you is that parent permission form. Make sure you have a parent sign that or family member sign that to make sure that you do have permission to leave the building. We want to encourage our students to take advantage of that, so you can take advantage of that time to study, to some students work or different things like that throughout the day. So please make sure you're taking advantage of that.
In closing here, there's a lot of resources that you can get familiar with inside of the document that if you have not already received, you will receive. Your sons and daughters did receive. There's a welcome message that I give out. There is the meet the assistant principals, and that's where you can get the tour of the building.
Yeah.
I do a screencast the first week of school for all of you parents that are saying, what the heck is he talking about with all these schedules and how things flow? I actually open up the schedule and I walk you through it. The new procedures helps you understand where to drive. And then I did a topographical map of that so that you can do a quick reference. For those of you currently watching, you are familiar with the YouTube page. That is where we will put out, we will do weekly podcasts. Most likely we'll do it from our office so that we can take off our masks and you can see us as we speak. The video announcements are a great link for you to check out what the students are presenting inside of a digital class each day for things happening. The weekend reflection comes out every Friday at 7 a.m. It gets sent out through Connect Ed, Infinite Campus, Twitter, and Remind 101. You can also check out our program of studies inside of this document, along with seeing our bell schedules, our handbook, along with seeing the teacher resources that will be provided for parents and students. It's what we did for the emergency remote learning. It was a quick reference where teachers could put in, this is how you can find all my stuff. They will put that in there, and that it is going to be, it's continually being updated.
Yes.
As Mr. Bandera mentioned earlier about the student forums, the acceptable use policies, you can go through that. Chardon Athletics, one of our questions are in here, and Mr. Bandera is saying if you have any questions, certainly add them at this time, is we've been working on athletics, and we've also been working on our academics. We've been working on athletics with Doug Snyder. Doug Snyder, our athletic director, has been working all summer long. Just like we mentioned earlier, build a sandcastle, gets washed away. With athletics this year, it's limited to parents, family members, guardians, to each participant that participates in a football game. Let's say Ryan plays football. Ryan gets 2 tickets to give to his family. Let's say Doug is in the band. He gets 2 tickets. We're limited to the capacity of who can be in there, including you limit your roster for athletics too, for football. There's been a lot of changes. 15% of the capacity is taken automatically from our athletes and our band participants for football. And then because our gym and its setup, when you look at volleyball, it is pretty spaced out, and it quickly can get filled when you're looking at 3 teams of basically 36 athletes at 2 tickets on both sides. That's all that can fit in there. There's obviously soccer that's in the gym. Or sorry, soccer is not in the gym. They're in the Memorial Field, and they have the same rules. It's the same rules across our conference. It's not Chardon High School being mean. It's governor's order, reviewed by Tom Quaid after it's been completed by our conference and our school, getting approved, and they have to accept it. But you can watch our games, most of them, not all of them, but most of them, they will be streamed live. That was one of our questions. You can go to chardonathletics.org. There is a tab there to watch tonight's football game. But likewise, you can follow us on Twitter. You go into Twitter and type in Mr. Bandera. It comes up. You can see him. Mr. Murray, you can type and see me. Same with Mr. Hyam. And you can follow us on Twitter. We use Twitter a lot. We do have a school Snapchat that Mr. Bandera runs. He does post things for kids and families that want to see those things. He feels like he has no friends because he doesn't follow anyone, but a lot of people follow him. And you can actually sign up for our Remind 101 by texting at Chardon HS / to 81010, and you can get communications on your phone. A lot of information was sent today, and we want to take a proper time I will take a time to pause if they want to follow up with things, but then certainly put in your questions.
No, I think I'm looking forward to seeing our students here on Monday and Monday and Tuesday of next week. Also looking forward to some top football tonight. Watching out on the Boxcast for those who are. Hopefully our Toppers can start off their season strong with a win tonight. And also look for some of the other sports teams this weekend too. I know volleyball has a couple matches, and I believe soccer, cross country, I think all of them are competing this weekend. So hopefully our Toppers start off their athletic season strong.
I think I can speak for all three of us. We're tired. We're looking forward to the school year, but we're excited. I think that's the key word. We're excited to have students back in the building. That's why we got into education, and we're tired, but we're excited about Monday. It's going to be a great day.
We do have a question that just popped up here. Was CHS able to get classroom to allow for 6 feet spacing between children? And that's a great question. We've been through our classrooms pretty firmly a lot over the last month or so. We've done our best to create social distancing in those classrooms, in addition to the use of our desk shields and proper spacing for students. Each classroom in our building, I think, is a different size, as we found out this year. So about every classroom has a little bit different setup, a different unique setup. But for the most part, we are practicing that social distancing in all of those classrooms.
Mr. Hyam has worked tirelessly on square footage, getting a building capacity. When it looks at our orange model, there's going to be even more than the allocated space necessary for each kid. When you look at the yellow model, I don't know what we were going by squares. It's like 25 to 30 squares, which is a 5x5 section or a 5x6 section, potentially for a student to create that distancing. I don't know if you want to.
All our classrooms are set up slightly different into triads or quads, or maybe with tables, different things. The one thing I wanted to make sure you're aware is we took pictures of the various classroom setups. They were approved by the Department of Health in Jog County, so we feel confident that we're following the guidance from the Department of Health, and we are doing the best with the facility we have to provide a safe environment. The one thing that I've shared with staff members over and over is that our priority in the classroom and everything we're doing is to provide a safe environment for them, their family, and especially our students. That is our number one priority and our goal. So we are checking and making sure that we're providing the best opportunity for our students to stay safe.
It's a great question. So the question is, will Blue Model virtual in-person hybrid students be able to participate in Picture Day? If so, how will they be able to do that? On that second day, which is for makeups. So it goes, I think, 11th, 12th, and I'm not sure if we'll even have that many 12th graders take it because one, they're already going to have their IDs. So if a senior doesn't plan on getting professional photos, they have the opportunity to get a school photo. And then we can, if a student from that range of time, which we don't know what that time is as of yet, but we can find out that time, would like to have their picture taken, they have the right to do so during that makeup time. Likewise, if a student does not feel comfortable with that and wants to be able to use, a shot from their house, from their family member, that could be submitted to the yearbook too. We don't want to say you have to do that this way, but we certainly can provide that. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great question. Certainly, please continue to have any questions that are coming through here. We'll stay on, for the next 9 minutes or so, because that would lead us to being on for like an hour today. So just to kind of delay here while they're typing.
Mhm.
Bell schedules covered, A and B groups, hybrid, blue model, entrance, sanitizing, distancing. Really important for those students that are going to want to utilize the open campus to do that online, get the parent signature, and get it in the first week so we can expedite that as fast as we can.
One of the things we failed to talk about today, unfortunately, was was the core values at Sharon High School. And I think that's important to talk about those. If you've heard Mr. Murray talk for a few minutes, you probably heard those core values out of his mouth. I'm surprised with almost an hour you didn't share them today. But our core values at Sharon High School are part of our positive behavior intervention support program that we have. And it's really just words, and they're meaningless words until you put that meaning behind them. So we talk about that all the time. Our core values make up the word Chardon. They create what makes us Chardon strong. We start with that first one, which is community, humility, achievement, respect, dignity, optimism, and nurture. We talk about those a lot. Whenever a student's in one of our offices for a good choice, maybe a choice that needs some redirection, or just to talk to us, we try to bring those core values into that conversation. It's important that we follow those core values, especially in this different time right now. We respect each other. We have that respect. We're taking care of each other by nurturing each other. We have the humility to do what's right by wearing a mask or things like that. So please learn those core values. It's in your handbook. It's in pretty much every document we share. It's on all over our websites. Make sure you're using those core values this school year and in all those choices you're making throughout our building.
Well placed. I do talk about it in my opening message, and I know Mr. Bandera does also when he's walking the hallways. The one thing that we neglected to directly talk about, but is connected to the core values, is social and emotional supports.
Mm-hmm.
The last 5 months have increased the feeling of anxiety, anxious moments, unknowns. Why? As you look in our world, there's been a lot of things that we haven't seen before, directly towards people just not feeling comfortable in the present moment. And it's okay to feel not okay, but it's not okay not to talk about it and share and communicate and articulate why you feel the way you do. We certainly have open door policies in all three of our offices, along with all of our guidance counselors. We have a phenomenal social worker, Mrs. Blackburn, who oftentimes can de-escalate us when we are like, oh my gosh, this is going on, that's going on. And just the way she talks just calms us. There is a resource inside of that document that you can look at that provides how to respond when you don't know how to respond. And the important side is if when you see something, to say something, even if it's not, I don't feel okay, but maybe he doesn't feel okay. And I don't know what to say to him. So I say to my trusted adult, hey, he's not himself today. And you talk to a trusted adult, because that's the way that we can, if we don't know there's something going on, I could just say, hey, how's things going? School, everything's going well. How's athletics? I'm fine, everything's good. But really inside, there's like a fog that I don't know about because he's not sharing. But maybe Mr. Bandera knows something more, and he's able to be able to talk to a trusted adult and say, I just don't know what to say. I don't know how to articulate my feelings. The key to all of this is, love, really love. And there's various forms of it, but the most important is knowing that every single child when they come in the building is going to be treated like one of our children. We all have children, and we love our children. And those kids that come across, whether they are the ones that are rough around the edges, we love those kids. And we don't even call them those kids because they're a part of our family. To the kids that are involved in 1,000 things, we try to connect kids together. We try to see that we have so many similarities. But the one thing is to always be nice. And that connects to our core values of the respecting everyone, because there is going to be a lot of people that have personal opinions about these, and I'm pointing to my mask. But we're doing this together to keep us together. And that is a really important facet of all this, is to be nice, to listen, to learn. And we have to do this all together. Our teachers know that. As they're coming through, they have so many different feelings about school, but we've really talked about together. We have gone through a lot here at Chardon, but by far, the more we're together, the stronger we will be. And that is kind of the atomic bond that we have here with our staff, that they reach out and they are kind of the foot soldiers to know what's really going on, and they can really help us. And our students know what's really going on, and they come and help us. We're all over the building, serving so many different needs in a day, but we will always stop to listen to a student in need. So we're about 2 minutes away from putting a closure to this. Do you have any more questions? Now's the time. Otherwise, we're going to sign off, because the three of us are going to get transitioned into the next thing, because I'm sure that there's people looking for us. And then in a few hours, we have Friday night football. And who would have thought we would have been saying that a month ago?
Even a week ago.
Yes. But we have to be mindful in order to keep school, keep our seasons. A long time ago, it was in the spring, and it was said by one of our students that worked with Mrs. Blackburn. We don't want to be so much socially distant. We want to be physically distant, but stay social. And I think that a lot of our kids are being excited to be social, but they're also going to be afraid that they're physically too close. Because by the nature of humanity, we want to be close. And in order for us to stay together, we have to be mindful of everyone's space. We appreciate all of you. We can't wait to see your sons and daughters on Monday, August 31st. A students are in, B students get an extra day, but you A students, you get an extra day when it's the red day, because the B students are in and you have nothing to do. So it evens out. Blue day kids, meet with your staff 1357 on Monday. Check in with them because they might have an extension on Tuesday for you. Then you're going to meet with your staff, teachers on 2, 4, and 6. And then you might have things to do on Thursday also. That's it from us. Do you have anything you want to follow up?
Nope. Peace. Have a great weekend.
And let's go get them, Toppers. Take care.